Chapter 17. I wake up, my head throbbing, my eyelids heavy as lead, with absolutely no will to get up from this bed. I yank back the covers and force my eyelids open, and as I do, the sad pathetic reality that is my life comes flooding back to me. I'm in a room about twice as big as the one Sarah and I share back at the flat, and it's way too symmetrical for my liking. On each side of the room is a single bed, and the one opposite mine has ruffled sheets and covers. Some random kid must have slept there last night. I sit on the edge of the bed, rubbing my eyes and yawning. I feel like absolute shit. My body aches from the fight, and the hours we spent at the cop station last night have taken their toll. I think back to the interview where the cops had taken statements from us. I told them everything, leaving no detail out. I told them about Sarah getting bullied, about us coming home to Robert drunk, and me exploding in anger. I told them how I punched Robert and he punched me back, and how I slashed him with the broken bottle. I didn't have the energy to lie or cover up my actions or act like this was just a once-off. I want something to change, anything to make my life a little more bearable, even if it means putting a bit of faith in the law. I stretch again, yawning loudly, and examine myself all over. I'm still fully clothed from the night before, except for my shoes, which are lying on the floor. I freaked out at first when they told me Sarah and I couldn't be in the same room, but the nice elderly lady at reception insisted that Sarah would be sharing a room in the care house with a lovely 14-year-old girl called Monique, and I've been too exhausted to put up much of a fight. I grab my shoes and pull them on, heading out the door in search of Sarah. Quietly I creep down the hall, past closed doors, trying to make as little noise as possible. I reach the entrance to the meal area and poke my head round the door, hoping to find Sarah, but to my disappointment, the only person in the room is a lady in her 40s reading a newspaper. She spots me almost instantly. Jason, I wondered when you were going to wake up. It's already well past 11. She's one of the social workers from last night who picked us up from the cop station after I'd been charged and bailed pending further investigation. I grin sheepishly and step through the door. Sorry, I say. I kind of had a rough night. Yes, I know you poor dear. It's fine. You deserve a rest. Here. She gestures to take the chair opposite her. Take a seat. Would you like a coffee? Something to eat? I shake my head and sit back down, racking my brains, trying to remember what her name is. I think it's Amy or Angela or something. Possibly even Francine. She did tell me, but now it's lost among everything else that happened that night. She has short brown hair and is dressed in a blazer and business skirt. She seems nice, and despite her professional look, she has a kind, motherly feel about her, which puts me at ease. Do you know where Sarah is? I asked, looking around the room. The social worker smiles softly at me. Yes, she just popped out with Michael to get some supplies. Michael? My colleague. You met him last night. My blood pressure rises. I want to see her, I demand. They should be back shortly. Francine, or whatever her name is, smiles again. But I'm not having any of it. I don't know anything about these people, and they've just taken Sarah somewhere without my permission. No, I say loudly, emotion surging through me. I want to see Sarah now. The woman recoils, looking worried. I told you, she says firmly. Sarah and Michael will be back shortly. You'll have to wait until then to see them. I open my mouth to respond, but as I do I hear the front door open and 2 pairs of footsteps coming down the corridor. Sarah enters the room, followed closely by a man in his early 30s, carrying 2 bags of shopping. Jason! Sarah runs over and wraps her arms around me. Hey, I say, kneeling down to her height. Are you okay? Where'd you go? Me and Michael went to the shops. Sarah grins proudly. He's funny, Jace. Kinda goofy, like you. I glare at Michael. Glad to see you're up and about, Jason. Michael smiles at me. Would you like some breakfast? We have eggs or cereal? I'm right for the moment, I say, waving him aside and turning back to Sarah. How you surviving? I'm okay, she says with a giggle. You look absolutely terrible, though. I nod, grinning. I'm just wrecked. The fight with Robert really took it out of me. Sarah glances from side to side, then leans in close and whispers, Jason, what's going to happen to us? Where's Dad? Did they take him to prison? I smile sadly. No, he's not in prison. I tell her as Michael and Francine drift around in the background, pretending not to listen. Though I might have to go away soon for slashing him with that bottle. Sarah looks shocked. Tears well up in her eyes and I immediately regret saying it. Jace, it's okay, I say quickly. If it happens, it won't be for a while. As for where we're going to live, I'm not sure yet. We might move into another house or stay here for a while or maybe even move back in with Robert. But whatever happens, I'll make sure we stay together. Sarah looks at me apprehensively. Move back in? Well, Dad's still like this. I know, Sarah. I rub her on the back in comfort. But this is out of our control now. We'll just have to wait and see what the cops and social workers say before we make any decisions. Sarah nods and I kiss her on the forehead and stand up. Michael walks into the kitchen and puts his grocery bag down on the table. Would anyone like a cup of tea? He asks as I continue to glare at him. Sarah? Amanda? So that's her name. I have no idea where I got Francine from. Both of them say yes and Michael glances at me, eyebrows raised. I nod slightly and sit down at the kitchen table next to Sarah. Michael brings us both a very strong cup of tea. Michael's one of my star co-workers, Jason, Amanda tells me. He specialises in helping troubled young men such as yourself through these difficult periods in their lives. He's a great guy and a good ear, so anything you want to know or talk about, he's your man. Michael nods his head in agreement. I know this is a tough time for both you and Sarah, but Amanda and I are both here to help you in any way we can. So is there anything you want explained? Any procedures or problems you want to talk about? I sigh deeply, my eyes resting on Sarah. Well, what happens to the both of us from here on? I mean, what's the next step? Michael nods and Amanda shuffles her newspaper around. Well, for the moment, you'll remain here with Amanda and me. As we explained to you last night, we have a meeting with Robert at the police station this afternoon, where I'll act as mediator and a youth liaison officer will also be present. During the meeting, we'll try and resolve the conflict between the two of you and try to come to some sort of arrangement that will hopefully allow the three of you to continue living together. I half cough and half laugh and Michael gives me a look. Try to keep an open mind, Jason, Michael says. Really, there are only two outcomes from the meeting this afternoon. One is that the problems between you and Robert are resolved and you continue living under his roof. The other is you'll be put under state care and moved into a foster home or homes. And I can tell you from experience that the first option is almost always the best way to go. Fine. All right, I mutter. Amanda smiles and takes over from Michael. The other issues that we'll be addressing during the meeting are the criminal aspects of the fight. As it stands, Robert is the key witness for your alleged assault on him. Yeah, I was waiting for that part. Amanda nods. He may very well choose to assist police in pursuing prosecution for the alleged assault. I know you claim it was self-defense, but you still must prepare yourself for the possibility that this might go to court. Great, I shrug. I'm not sure of Robert's position, but your future will become a lot clearer after our meeting with him tonight. I look down at the ground. So it's all up to Robert then. Sarah and my futures are in the hand of a man who's never really given a fuck about either of us. Okay, I groan, getting up from the table and scratching the back of my neck. What are the rules about me and Sarah leaving this place? I'd like to go to the park and get some fresh air, get my head straight, you know? Michael nods. Should be fine as long as you tell us which park you're going to and how long you're going to be there and stick to that time frame. We trust you, and as long as you don't break or exploit that trust, we'll keep trusting you. However, given it's crucial we make the appointment this afternoon, I'd prefer to drop you off at the park and pick you up. If you're happy with that, there shouldn't be a problem. Thanks, I nod at Michael gratefully. I sit down at the table and pull out my phone, typing a message to Lily. Massive fight with Robert. Cops came. Now with social services. Can you meet me this afternoon? X. I get a reply almost instantly. Shit, are you alright? I can meet you at 1 p.m. Stay safe. XO. I smile softly and write back. Safe for now. We'll explain all when I see you. XO. I put the phone down and lean back, staring up at the ceiling. Michael drops us off at the park at exactly 1 p.m. Together, Sarah and I walk over to the park bench and sit down. I grab a cig from my half-empty deck and spark it, sighing deeply. I feel helpless and defeated. This is it. I've hit rock bottom. Every decision I've made has fucked me up, and now Sarah and I are about to lose our home. I'm facing serious police charges, possibly even juvie, and to make matters worse, it's all been my own dumb fault. From across the park, I see a slender figure appearing in the distance, making a slow way towards me. My mood lifts as I realise it's Lily. I butt out my cigarette and Sarah and I get off the bench to go and greet her. I let Sarah go first. She wraps her arms around Lily's lower body as Lily gives her a comforting rub on the shoulder. You holding up okay, sweetie? Lily asks. Sarah nods bravely and moves aside, allowing me to access Lily. We embrace, neither of us saying a word. Our lips touch and a sense of calm washes over me. After a good minute or two of kissing, Lily draws back slightly. You look wrecked. I nod in a daze, momentarily forgetting all my problems now that I have Lily in my arms. I bury my head in her shoulders and kiss her neck, trying desperately to suppress the emotion welling up inside of me. Sarah, darling, Lily says softly, do you think it would be okay if me and your brother could talk alone for a minute? Sarah nods and slowly walks off to the playground a little way away. Are you okay? I'm a little screwed up right now, I mumble, my face still buried in her neck. Lily draws back again and kisses me. Let's sit over here and talk about it, she suggests. Yeah, sure. She leads me over the bench and we sit down, Lily resting her head on my shoulder. We sit there for a while, staring across the park, Lily no doubt waiting for me to patiently tell her what happened. She finally asks, Where are you staying? In a care house. Where's Robert? I don't know. The cops took him. So what happened? I tell Lily about the fight, about Sarah getting bullied and us going to the bridge where Mum had died, about Robert rejecting Sarah and me slashing Robert with a bottle, about the anger, the hurt, the police and the social workers. Lily's eyes are wide, she's squeezing my hand tight, but she doesn't say anything. I can still feel it all, feel it as if I'm there in the room. I'm crying now, helplessly, uncontrollably, as Lily strokes my hair and tells me it's okay. But I'm defeated by everything that's happened, and all the shit that's still yet to come. After a while, I gain a bit more control over myself. Lily smiles at me kindly, her eyes watery as she leans over to kiss me on the lips. I give a pathetic laugh. I'm sorry, I tell her hoarsely. You must think I'm a right loser. Lily giggles. No, Chase, don't be stupid. I crack up a little hysterical. All I can do now is laugh at how fucked I am. I am, though, I insist, resting my head on Lily's chest. I fucked up. I mean, I'm screwed. My own goddamn stupidity has put me and Sarah in a position that we might never recover from. Lily frowns at me and shakes her head. I continue anyway. I mean, why the fuck can't I do anything right? What do you mean? It's like I'm wired to fuck up, to make dumb decisions. No, Jace. And the worst part of it is, every time I screw up, it not only messes up my life, but Sarah's too. I seriously wonder if I'm any good for her. Lily puts her hand over my mouth, shocked. Jason, you can't seriously believe that. I turn away, but Lily grabs my jaw and turns my head back to face her. Jason, you're a 16-year-old kid. You expect way too much of yourself. I know, Lily. But it's what I have to do. No one expects you to look after your sister, to try and get both of you through school and make no mistakes. It doesn't matter. That's the reality of my situation. And you're doing a really good job. But you've got a lot riding on your shoulders, and for the most part, you've been killing it. But what if Robert chooses to press charges? What if I get put away? Nothing's final or definite, Jason. And if things don't go your way, you have to keep fighting. I sit there taking in Lily's words. The whole morning I felt terrified. But Lily's is a voice of reason in a sea of chaos and emotion. We're both silent for a bit. After a while, Lily turns to me and asks, So what are you going to do then? I mean, if it comes down to it, you might have to make a decision about which direction you're going to take, depending on what Robert does. Yeah, I know. Do you want to stay living there if you can? Or do you think you and Sarah would be better off moving out? I sigh, feeling the weight of this decision I'll have to make. I don't know, shit. I mean, we could move out, but the only real option is a foster home. They're kind of shit anyway. But at least you can move away from Robert, Lily reasons. Surely it'd be good to put some distance between you and him. I don't know. I just don't know. I shrug helplessly. I mean, on the one hand, moving away from Robert might be like a new start, a chance to reorder my life and get away from all the emotional shit that makes me lose control. That sounds like a pretty massive plus. Well, it wouldn't really fix any of the problems we have, but at least I could avoid them long enough to get my life back on track. Something that can only be good, right? On the other hand, I've seen what happens to people when they're on their own too young. You mean like Kev? They get fucked up, angry and out of control. Yeah, or defeated like DJ, or money and drug obsessed like Spike. True. I mean, Robin hasn't been there for Sarah and me, but at least it's been some kind of home. Lily nods, holding my hand as I talk. She doesn't interrupt or put forward any of her own opinions. Just lets me talk it through, lets me work it out. I laugh hollowly, shaking my head. I mean, if it's up to me, I think it'd be better for both Sarah and me if we stay. At least then we'll get to be together. But I reckon the decision will be up to Robert, and I know he wants to get rid of me. Lily rubs my knee in comfort. Don't assume anything, Jace, she tells me. Remember, Robert's your father. That's got to count for something. I grin sadly, that naivety again, thinking parents like Robert actually cared. The truth is, Robert's going to kick me out. I'm just a problem in his life, a problem he wants to get rid of. But whether or not Sarah and I are in the same boat, well, that would have to be decided tonight. With any luck, I'll be able to negotiate an arrangement where Sarah and I can stick together. Lily kisses me and rubs my shoulders. So, I guess everything depends on the meeting later, she says solemnly. Yeah, I admit. I guess it does. She cups my jaw and gazes into my eyes. Jason, I know you, and I know that you're going to be all right. This is just a hiccup in your life that I know you'll get over. I know you'll move on. I smile, trying to believe her. You have to understand, Jason, you've got people who love you. You have to understand that no matter what happens, I love you. And if worse comes to worse, I'll do whatever I can to take care of you and Sarah. I kiss her passionately. Her hands move to the back of my neck, mine to her hips. I don't need Robert to care about me or social workers to look after me. I don't want to be so tough I can't feel like Kev or too numb like Spike, or become a lawyer or a doctor like my teachers would have me do. All I need in my life is Lily. Peace and Lily. That's enough for me. A car horn goes off and I see Michael and his Commodore looking over at us, pointing at his watch. I groan and shake my head. Lily glances at me as if to ask, Who's that? Social worker, I mutter. I gotta go. I stand up and beckon for Sarah to come over. Are you going to be okay? Lily puts her hand on my arm, a worried look in her eyes. I don't know, I shrug. I hope so. Sarah arrives and embraces Lily in the mother of all farewell hugs. Bye, Lily. Bye, darling. Then Sarah heads off towards Michael's car. I turn. Lily grabs the back of my neck and kisses me hard. Good luck, she whispers. Hope it goes okay. I smile at her, getting up from the bench. I'll let you know as soon as I get out. Lily nods. Good luck, Chase. Try and keep you cool. I wink at her. You know me. I was born cool. She shakes her head at my pathetic joke and turns away. Disappointed, I follow Sarah towards Michael's car. We arrive at the police station. Robert and a constable I don't recognise are waiting for us as we walk through automatic glass doors. Robert looks rough. His eyes are bloodshot, his clothes are dirty and strained, and there's a bandage around his arm where I cut him. He barely acknowledges my presence as each party greets the other, and the constable who Michael informs me is the youth liaison officer leads us down the hall to a small interview room. We go and sit on opposite sides of the table. The youth liaison officer sighs deeply and rubs his eyes as Michael shuffles his papers and begins to speak. We're here today to discuss what occurred at the Clarke residence last night. I'm hoping we can find a solution to the future living arrangements of Jason and Sarah. We all nod to show we understand. We're all well aware of the events that took place last night, and Jason has been charged and bailed for his involvement in them. Now, in regards to the legal ramifications for Jason's, I sit up straighter in my chair. I've been informed that the charges have been dropped. My head snaps towards Robert, and no further action will be taken on the matter. I don't understand, I stammer. Michael grins at me. Constable Finlay, maybe you could explain. The young cop scratches the back of his head. From what I've been told, Robert, correct me if I'm wrong, has made a statement and admitted to being intoxicated last night. He said that if he hadn't have been drunk, the incident would never have occurred. Constable Finlay looks at Robert for confirmation, but Robert says nothing, just stares blankly at his hands. Despite Jason's confession to the contrary, he claims the injury he suffered to his arm was accidental. Is that right, Robert? Robert nods slightly, still not looking up. I stare at him dumbfounded. His face is expressionless. My brow furrows as I try to work out his motives. To get me and Sarah back in the flat? Or just to be done with the police and social services as quickly as possible? Yeah, that's more likely. So with all that resolved, where do you want to go from here? Michael asks the room. I shrug, my brain still trying to process Constable Finley's words. Robert has volunteered to participate in a group drug and alcohol counselling program to better understand his addiction. What happened last night was an isolated incident. This was all too much. As far as the state's concerned, Jason, he turns to me, We have no problem with you and your sister moving back home and continuing on your current living